Thanks, Monica. My name is Laura Escobar. I've worked at United Way Bay Area for 35 and a half years. 30 of those years working on a very specific program called the Emergency Food and Shelter National Board Program. It's this, a little bit of my backstory is I started on what's now our 211 line. It was the United Way helpline when I started I was hired as a homelessness prevention specialist. Because we were seeing increase, a bunch of funders came together through Northern California grant makers and funded positions at a bunch of agencies, including United Way and our call center, because there was a rise of family homelessness. And so the idea was, how can we prevent these families from living in their car on the streets, couch surfing? Is it lack of information of where the resources are? So I sat on that call center for almost 5 years, taking calls, all kinds of things, but a lot then and now. Our number one call is for rent, housing assistance, food, and utilities. And when I listen to the speaker talk about legacy, Safety Net work, my title is Vice President of Safety Net Services. Safety Net is my legacy. Like, this is what I've been doing my whole career. Whether it was in Appalachia, whether it was packing food boxes on the corner of 15th and Dolores at the Emergency Food Box Program when I first arrived here in San Francisco, like working at a soup kitchen in Uptown in Chicago. Like, I've been doing this since my whole life, right? So like, this is important to me. And I found this great job where I got to get money from the federal government called the Emergency Food and Shelter Program. It's this weird little bucket of money through FEMA, of all places, and it started in 1983. There was a recession. I know that word's coming again, that's what we're being told. And Congress, a bipartisan Congress, Ronald Reagan was president, Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House, the good old days, right? And money was given to FEMA because it was a disaster, an economic disaster, to get money out. And FEMA went to United Way and said, help us get out this money. And it was a one-time thing, and then it was a two-time thing. And then it became an authorized program in the McKinney Act in the late 80s. And for 41 years, an appropriation has been made by Congress to this bucket of money. And it doesn't come through a city, it doesn't come through county government or city government or the state government, it comes through United Way. Worldwide is our fiscal agent, and we at the local United Way do the process of RFPs and all of that. So in December of 2024, just a few months ago, we got our latest notice, here's how much money you have in Santa Clara, Alameda, wherever in my counties. And I started the RFP process, and they said, well, we're going to be really strict this year. You have to get it out in 90 days. And I went, I have a lot of counties. All right, let me get going. Started those processes, and we'll award the money in January. And January came and went, and suddenly we're not hearing anything. When's the money going to be officially put in our portal, and I can start telling you who to give money to, because basically I'm the local contract manager for these funds. And we actually got a call from the California Association, our friends at United Way of California, who heard from the food banks that the program was indefinitely paused. Well, indefinitely paused, we didn't know anything about that. And we've come to find out that FEMA is doing a review to see if EFSP, this funding, this pot of money, is in line with the new executive orders. Which executive order? I don't know. I don't know what they're looking at. I have a few hypotheses of what they're looking at, but this is money for food and shelter. And so our safety net is under siege. And a lot of our Spark Point centers have food programs, and the food banks, our pantries are getting hit on all sides. If they lose CDBG, if they lose EFSP, if they lose whatever other letters there are, they're gonna start losing funding, and that means less food. Kids will go hungry. Moms and dads will give their food to their kids. They'll go hungry. There will be hunger. So I'll stop there, and but yeah, happy to be in this conversation with you about what can we do, because that is day-to-day life right now is worrying about these agencies who apply for funding